All right, fellas. So, so if you saw my video the other day about money management, um, I was I enjoyed that one, doing that one because I haven't talked about that one. That's really important. So, and quite a few people told me that it was really useful. So I'm really happy with that. Um, but yeah, I've been harping on about charts and technicals and all that stuff that I just completely neglected the other two important topics of it. So this one I want to talk more about psychology because and I've got a bit of time, a bit more time now. Work's been a bit easier, so I can do more of this stuff. Um, but yeah, so I want to kind of explain to you psychology because I would never have thought to even be reading this stuff up or trying to learn it because it's so important, right? And not just trading. Okay, so there's two sides to this. There's the trading aspect of it, right, which is like how our decisions are like based on fear and greed, pain and pleasure, all that kind of stuff. Um, but I'll kind of show you an example of what I mean by psychology in trading because surprisingly a lot of people actually don't see it, right? They don't believe it. Um, but it's actually not just trading; it's everything, right? It's even when you go into the shops to buy something. So I'll kind of give you that example, right? Because I was thinking about it before. Um, so there's two sides. So there's two sides of psychology, right? Now, again, I'm just winging this, all right? There's obviously the trading aspect of it, right? So anything to do with money, right? So decision making, all that kind of stuff, right? And then there's the other side of psychology, which is kind of like just your everyday life, So um, interaction with people, your friends, family, work, right? Because what happens, you know, what happens with, what happens in that interaction has a direct impact to your trading, all right? So that's why there's two sides to this, right? So there's, and when both those sides combine, when you're trading, it can destroy you, right? It can really, really put you in a bad place. And I've been in that bad place before. A lot of people have been in that bad place. And it's not pretty to look at, right? So, and I kind of wanted to give you that because the thing about trading, and I've mentioned this before, is trading is a lonely business. It's very lonely because there's not many people out there that trade, right? That's to put it simple. There's not hardly anyone out there that trades. And because there's no one out there, you think, you don't really have anyone to talk to. You don't have anyone to, not talking about feelings and all that kind of stuff, right? We're talking about just like trading, just like, am I doing the right thing? Is my thinking right on this? Am I, kind of like another person to look at you, to check you up and go, well, nah, you're doing it wrong because I think you should do it like this, right? And so you don't really know, you can go on for years, right? Not know if you're doing the right thing or not. You think you're doing the right thing. But that's why I wanted to share this stuff because I think it's going to help people and and I think it's really valuable stuff, right? Very valuable, right? So kind of let's kick it off, right? So I'll give you an example from your perspective, right? Because I'm trying to find something that will relate to you, all right? So let's just say let's say you just bought an apartment or rented an apartment. And you start, first thing you do is go look for furniture, what to buy, all that stuff, right? So let's say you're going to look for a couch, right, for your living room. And your apartment's pretty small, right? So you go out there, you go hunting from store to store, and you try to find the right design, the right look, the right feel, all that kind of stuff. And you finally find your couch. And it looks perfect, right? So what do? You just stand and just stare at it and try and visualize how it's going to look in the apartment, whether it's going to fit, which corner you're going to put it at, all that kind of stuff. And when you've decided, you're like, okay, well, I need to go home and measure this, right? So you go home and do all the measurements, and then you stand in your house for a few hours, and you're trying to visualize the same thing, how it's going to fit, how it's going to look. And everyone struggles with that. Some people have that gift, though, right? So you finally do all that, you come back, and by this time it's hours, days gone past, right? You come back, and then you stare at it again, you're still deciding, contemplating if you're going to get it or not. And you finally just lock it in, you say, yep, I'm going to get it. Okay, so you get the couch, you pay, you pay for it, and then you take it home, and you're excited the whole way home. You can't wait to get, because this is your game room pretty much, right? This is where you're gonna have your theater system, everything set up. So this couch has to work, right? And you'll so so when you get back, you bring it in and you put it in the corner you're intended to put it at. But then you find it doesn't fit, right? By 2 centimeters, example, right? Your measurement was off by 2 centimeters, right? And it could be anything. It could be the wall was, there was something, a gap in the wall or something like that, and I don't know, whatever the reason might be, right? The fact is, it doesn't fit, and there's no way you're going to get it to fit, right? So what do you do at that point, right? What do you do, right? So you have the option of returning it and getting a refund, or you just try to think of another solution, right? Put it somewhere else. But you can't put it anywhere else because it just won't fit. Like, it just won't fit what you want the couch to be, right? You want it to be there. It has to be there. And that's when you start thinking about stupid things like, well, maybe if I drill a hole through the wall and then kind of make it a bit more, whatever it might be. Like, you try and think of the stupidest things to try and fit it in there. And by that time, this is days gone past, right? You wasted all this time when you could have just gone back and get a refund and look for another couch. But the end result of this is that you don't lose out. You just lose out on time, right? You really just lose out on time. You just take the couch back, get the refund if you can, and you lose out on time. You just have to do it again. In trading, however, it's the same thing because you've gone to the store, you've analysed this couch, you've analysed the setup, you've got it all down pat. You know that this is where you want to get in. You get in, and then it goes your way for a bit, but then things start to go bad, right? For whatever reason, it goes bad. And then that's where it starts to play tricks in your head. You start thinking, well, maybe should I get up now? Should I just close the trade? It's going against me. What do I do? It's going the other way. Maybe I'll close it now and then open a trade in the opposite direction. And and it's the same thing, but the right answer really is to hold the trade. Just hold it and just get stopped out. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Just move on to the next trade. But what happens is it's just this never-ending cycle of doing the same, just staring at it, just watching every tick and getting emotionally frustrated. And finally, when you make the decision, right? Finally, when you make the decision to close the trade, you've had enough. It's not the right trade. You close the trade. As soon as you close the trade, what happens? It starts going back up again. Right? And at that point, it just screws in your head. You're just thinking, the market's against me, the broker's against me, everyone's against me, right? And if that happens repetitively, that could really screw with your head big time. Trust me, it's you don't want to. It's not a good place to be in, right? You start to really, your behavior changes. Like, is in like at the time, really, like you just curse yourself. It's just not a good place to be, right? So, and that's why I want to show you this, because I've been through this, right? So, and I'll give you an example of this trade, right? I'm just picking up pretty much a random chart, and I'm just going. It doesn't really matter what chart; it's all going to be the same, right? So let's say I enter here, okay? That's my entry. I've planned my trade. I've got it all worked out. My target's going to be here, right? I'm going to place my stops here, all right? So if the trade goes down, it's going to stop me out. I'm at a loss. I lose, say, $20. But if it goes up and hits my target, I make, say, $100, right? So, sorry, I'm just checking out. I've just got a few trades open. I just want to make sure I'm in them. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. So say you entered the trade, right? You got in, market goes in your direction, right? And then you get this big spike, awesome spike, right? Then what happens, right? What happens? It starts to retrace. Now, some people, what happens is, especially the newbies, when they see this big retracement, they get scared and they immediately sell out, right? They sell and they get that much profit, and then they go through this whole cycle of the same thing again, right? when what they should have done is just let the trade play out and just let it do. Because this is the market moves up. The market always ebbs and flows. It goes up and down like that. It's just how it is. But let's just say you held on to it and the market retraced, and then all of a sudden you get this pop back up, get another retracement, and then it goes back up. So at this moment you're feeling pretty good. You're feeling this trade is this is the shit, right? I've got this down pat, right? Right? Nothing can stop me. I'm the man, right? No, the next trade, this is too easy. This is too easy. So what happens, right? Your profit target's here. What do you do? Well, you should let it. The right thing to do is to let it just hit the target and then move on to the next trade. But what most people do is at that point, they're just like, okay, well, I think this could go higher. I'm going to move this up to here, right? Previous structure there. Let's move it up there. I think it will go there, right? And then what happens, right? Market reverses, goes back down, back to previous structure. And at this point, you're like, oh shit. All right, doesn't matter. It's still a good trade. We're still at previous structure. We haven't broken structure yet. We're still looking good. And then market goes back up. Right, so you're thinking, okay, this looks okay. Nerves are, you're still very nervous, right? And you're back up to here, and you're like, okay, it's looking good, right? Looking good. We're not far from the highs. So what you do now is, okay, well, you can either leave your target there, or you can move it back to where you plan to take it, right? And hold on, shit. Sorry guys, give me a sec, just want to get rid of these. Okay. Sorry. I'll close this one so I don't have to worry about it later. Okay, so then it's gone back up here. And then you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to move my target back here, right? Let's not be too greedy. Right? And then what happens, right? Market just crashes back down to your previous entry. Right? And at this point, you're like, oh shit, you're at break even. This is where you start cursing and saying all sorts of things, and And keep in mind your stop loss is still here, right? So you're still in the trade. The trade is still valid, right? And then market pops back up. Nothing exciting, and you're thinking, well, at this point in time, it's pretty much hopes and dreams, right? What I would have done is I would have closed the trade, right? Because it's violated too many structure levels. I would have looked at this and said it's violated this structure level, that structure level, came back down, went back up, then violated all these structure levels again. So that's already a bad trade. And then it goes back up, and then boom, you get this big drop, right? What happens next, right? So if you stuck to your plan, then you would have been stopped out for, say, $20 loss. But what tends to happen is, and keep in mind that everything I'm telling you is I've done this before, right? Everyone has done it before. Every trader that I've met, professional trader, they've done this, right? Everyone's been through the exact same psychology. So if anyone tells you that, they've never done this before, they're just talking shit, and you don't want to listen to those people. So, and then what happens? And this is what people tend to do, is rather than letting it hit the stop, people start to move it. As price goes down, people are like, oh, no, it'll come back, right? It's already oversold. Look, see, I'm looking down here, RSI is oversold, therefore, we might get a push back up, but it doesn't, it just keeps going down, so then people just keep moving it. And there'll be some point, some threshold, right, where they decide just to close out, right? So at this point, this $20 loss is turning to $100, and it goes down, keeps going down like that, right? And what's even worse is, just imagine, and this happens quite often, is that they move their stop all the way down here, and then to the point where they decide, okay, that's it, I've had enough. I'm going to close the trade and then go have a cry, and then and then come back and see what happens, right? So they close out of here. And then what's worse is the market does this. Boom. Back into previous structure, support, now turn resistance. So they would have been back to break even. And this happens, right? And when they come back from their break, or whatever they come back to, and they come back and they look at this and they're like, fuck me. This is bullshit. Fucking brokers. They're doing this on purpose. Right? They're doing this on purpose. You know, truth is it's not. The brokers are dodgy, but they're not this dodgy. Okay? They're not gonna this is all your fault basically, right? But you're just finding something to blame. But you can see what I mean by psychology. It's through all this is a few hours move, right? Your psychology is all over the shop at this point, right? And imagine that's just one trade. Imagine you had like 3 or 4 open trades at the same time. Or imagine you're doing this every single day. You know, it would screw with your head big time. And it's not easy. It's not easy, guys, right? So, and, but I've gotten a lot better, and my psychology has changed a shitload, because you got to be around. I'll talk about this in another video, but you got to find the right people that have been through this, are traders that you can kind of not leech off, but you know, kind of keep in contact, because those are the people that kind of keep you from getting into making these stupid mistakes, right? Because everyone does it. It's just fear and greed, right? Because you know you're fearing that you want to make more at this point. You're at this point. You're greed. It's all greed. You want to make more. When you should have just taken the profits and then move on to the next trade, right? Or stay on this trade and look for a shorting opportunity. And if you got out of this trade for a profit, $100, then you could have got back in for a shorting opportunity. And if you held it, you would have got, say, not only $100, but you got $200. So I still make these mistakes. But I've cut down on a lot of these mistakes. So I just wanted to show you that, and I know a few people. This is really good stuff. This is really useful. So it's not just this. You can do this for investing as well. So hopefully that was helpful, and I'll do another one because there's another topic. So that was the trading side of it. There's another part of it which I was telling you about before, which was the just the life aspect in general. So how your life, as in with your work, family, friends, whatever, how that affects this, right? Because it has a big effect, right? And that's something really important I want to drill into. So that's that, and hope that helps. Talk to you soon.